Travis Bickle, you talking to me?
You talking to me?
De Niro improvised that line in front of a mirror while Martin Scorsese's producers banged on the door, frustrated by the delay. Scorsese confirmed on The Late Show that the script simply said, Travis talks in the mirror, and everything else came from De Niro's imagination.
That wasn't in the script either. It came from him, you know?
That moment became the 10th greatest movie quote of all time, according to the American Film Institute. Fresh off a Best Supporting Actor win for The Godfather Part 2, De Niro was still relatively unknown to the public. He obtained an actual New York City taxi license and flew from Rome every Friday during the filming of 1900 just to drive a cab for weeks, researching the character from the inside. 35 pounds came off his frame, and he listened repeatedly to Arthur Bremer's diaries on tape to understand the mind of a would-be assassin. The $1.9 million taxi driver pulled in $28.5 million and won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. At the 1977 Oscars, it received 4 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress for 12-year-old Jodie Foster, and Best Original Score. Every single one lost. Peter Finch took Best Actor for Network, becoming the first posthumous acting Oscar winner after dying 2 months before the ceremony. Taxi Driver lost Best Picture to Rocky, and here's what stings even more. Martin Scorsese wasn't even nominated for Best Director, while Paul Schrader's screenplay got overlooked entirely. Roger Ebert called De Niro as good as Brando at suggesting emotions, even while veiling them from us. Pauline Kael wrote that no film had ever dramatized urban indifference with such power, calling it horrifyingly funny and then just horrifying. The Academy chose to honor other work. The National Film Registry selected the film for preservation in 1994. Sight and Sound ranked it number 29 in their critics' poll and number 12 among directors, while the film itself landed at number 52 on AFI's list of greatest movies, and Travis Bickle as a character ranked number 30 on their villains list. Captain Whitaker. 9 years into sobriety, Denzel Washington revealed during Gladiator II press in 2024 that he'd struggled with alcoholism for years, saying, I never drank while I was working or while preparing. I would clean up, go back to work. Then, boom, 3 months of wine. That personal history makes his performance in Flight all the more powerful.
It's okay. Come on.
Captain Whitaker is a high-functioning alcoholic pilot who miraculously lands a malfunctioning plane and saves most passengers, then faces investigation into his intoxication during the flight. Robert Zemeckis directed Washington for the first time in a live-action film since 2000, reuniting after years apart. Screenwriter John Gayton spent 12-plus years developing the script, drawing from his own sobriety journey after getting sober at 25. Washington approached the alcoholism with careful nuance, stating he didn't really want to get too much into the AA side because his character didn't think he was alcoholic. I was a guy who drank. The $31 million film earned $161 million worldwide. Roger Ebert, in one of his last reviews before his death, gave it 4 out of 4 stars and called it one of Washington's very best performances, ranking it number 6 on his Best of 2012 list. Todd McCarthy at The Hollywood Reporter wrote, it was one of Washington's meatiest, most complex roles, and he flies with it. At the 2013 Oscars, Washington faced Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln, and Day-Lewis won his historic 3rd Best Actor Oscar, becoming the first actor ever to achieve that feat. What makes Washington's loss particularly notable is the BAFTA shutout. Despite Oscar, Golden Globe, and SAG nominations, Washington has never received a BAFTA nomination in his entire career, despite 10-plus Oscar nominations throughout his career. He won the NAACP Image Award, but the British Academy completely ignored him. Washington has been sober since his 60th birthday in 2015. Lieutenant Dan. Forrest Gump received 13 Oscar nominations, the most since 1966, and won 6, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor for Tom Hanks.
My fellow nominees who are just as deserving, if not more so.
Gary Sinise wasn't among the winners. Lieutenant Dan Taylor gave Sinise what many consider the performance of his career. The Vietnam platoon leader loses both legs, descends into bitter alcoholism, then finds redemption through his friendship with Forrest, and the role required groundbreaking special effects work that had never been attempted before. Blue fabric stockings covered Sinise's legs up to the amputation point, while Industrial Light and Magic digitally removed his legs frame by frame. Magician Ricky Jay designed a wheelchair with a false bottom that allowed Sinise's legs to fold underneath. The shrimp boat sequence required a section of the boat to be physically cut out so Sinise could swing his legs through, then digitally restored in post-production. Sinise drew inspiration from his wife Moira's 2 brothers and brother-in-law, all Vietnam veterans, and 10 years earlier, he directed Tracers, a play by Vietnam vets, meeting wounded veterans at Great Lakes Naval Hospital. The $678 million box office success earned Sinise nominations at the Oscars, Golden Globes, and Screen Actors Guild. Wins came from the National Board of Review and Saturn Awards for Best Supporting Actor. But at the Academy Awards, Martin Landau won for Ed Wood. Some viewed Landau's victory as a career award for the veteran character actor, while the competitive field also included Samuel L. Jackson for Pulp Fiction. Some argue Sinise paid the price for being a relative unknown walking into that ceremony. The role changed Sinise's life forever in ways nobody expected. 2003 brought the co-founding of the Lieutenant Dan Band with musician Kimo Williams, performing at military bases worldwide, and he's visited 174+ bases and 21+ hospitals since then. The Gary Sinise Foundation came in 2011, building smart homes for wounded veterans as a direct result of Lieutenant Dan's impact on his life. Emperor Commodus. At 25, Joaquin Phoenix was terrified on the set of Gladiator, telling Ridley Scott directly, "I can't do it, I just can't do this." Scott filmed Phoenix for 4 hours without film in the camera to calm him down, acting as a big brother or father figure during the crisis. Richard Harris and Russell Crowe reportedly got Phoenix drunk to ease his nerves, which was Harris's idea, and Crowe initially called Phoenix terribly unprofessional, a characterization Scott confirmed in a 2024 New York Times interview. But Phoenix found his footing as Emperor Commodus, the immoral, power-hungry son of Marcus Aurelius, with incestuous desires for his sister, and the character could have been cartoonish in lesser hands. Instead, Phoenix improvised one of the film's most chilling moments during a scene with Connie Nielsen, when he asks her character, "Am I not merciful?"
Am I not merciful?
That line wasn't in the script, and Nielsen's terrified reaction was completely genuine. Entertainment Weekly's Chris Nashawati called it a more nuanced, star-making performance that turned what could easily have been a cartoonish villain into a richly layered study of pathology. Jack Gleason later cited Phoenix's Commodus as inspiration for Joffrey in Game of Thrones, saying, "That had a big impact," the smirk. Gladiator earned $465 million worldwide on a $103 million budget. 12 Oscar nominations came its way, leading all films that year, and 5 wins followed, including Best Picture and Best Actor for Russell Crowe. Phoenix's nomination for Best Supporting Actor faced Benicio del Toro for Traffic, who dominated the entire awards season by winning the Oscar, BAFTA, Golden Globe, and SAG Award. This wasn't an upset in the traditional sense, since del Toro was the clear favorite throughout. But Phoenix and Crowe formed a close friendship during production that endured for decades. The performance launched Phoenix toward his Walk the Line nomination in 2006 and his eventual Joker win in 2020, proving the role's impact on his career trajectory. Ridley Scott said in 2023 that he saw Commodus as the most sympathetic character of all, a product of neglect, total neglect of a father that he adored. Donnie Azoff, Jonah Hill, accepted $60,000, SAG minimum wage, for nearly 7 months on The Wolf of Wall Street. Leonardo DiCaprio received $10 million. Hill told Howard Stern in 2014 without hesitation, "They gave me the lowest amount of money possible. That was their offer. I would sell my house and give him all my money to work for Martin Scorsese." Playing Donnie Azoff, based on real-life fraudster Danny Porush, Hill delivered a performance far beyond comic relief. Highly polished prosthetic teeth caused a severe lisp and would shred up my gums during the nearly 7-month shoot, and during a fight scene, John Bernthal punched Hill so hard the prosthetic teeth split and fell out of his mouth.
So you mother. Oh, Jesus! How about that, faggot? Who's a faggot?
Hill ended up hospitalized with bronchitis from snorting too much fake cocaine, which was actually vitamin D powder used on set. Daily work with dialect coach Tim Monick meant practicing by calling businesses like Best Buy in character. The preparation paid off when The Hollywood Reporter wrote that Hill kept offering surprises and wasn't just comic relief but a credible, if weird, figure in the film. The $100 million film became Scorsese's highest grossing ever at $406 million worldwide. 5 Oscar nominations came its way, including Picture, Director, Actor, Adapted Screenplay, and Supporting Actor for Hill. The film won 0. A complete shutout at the ceremony. Jared Leto won Best Supporting Actor for Dallas Buyers Club in a competitive field that included Barkhad Abdi for Captain Phillips, Bradley Cooper for American Hustle, and Michael Fassbender for 12 Years a Slave. Hill was shocked by the nomination itself. He told E! News on the day of the announcement, "I am in complete and total shock. I honestly was not expecting this, on a level you can't even imagine." The film holds the Guinness World Record for most profanity, with 569 uses of a certain word. Hill kept his prosthetic teeth as his only set souvenir, and later signed on for Scorsese's upcoming Grateful Dead biopic as Jerry Garcia. Riggan Thomson, 4 Seconds of Tragedy. When Eddie Redmayne's name was announced as Best Actor winner at the 2015 Oscars, cameras caught Michael Keaton tucking his acceptance speech back into his jacket pocket, and the clip went viral immediately. Esquire called it 4 Seconds of Tragedy in their coverage the next day. Keaton had been the early frontrunner for Birdman throughout awards season. Wins came from the Golden Globe and Critics' Choice Award, and the race was described as neck and neck between him and Redmayne for The Theory of Everything heading into Oscar night. Birdman told the story of Riggan Thomson, a washed-up actor famous for playing superhero Birdman in a trilogy from 1989 to 1992, exactly matching Keaton's Batman era down to the year. Both Riggan and Keaton experienced superhero typecasting in their careers. But the key difference was this: Riggan resented his past, while Keaton embraced it. The metatextual performance required extraordinary technical precision nobody had seen before. Alejandro González Iñárritu filmed Birdman to appear as one continuous shot, with the longest single take running approximately 15 minutes, and most sequences around 10 minutes, usually completed on the 15th take after multiple failures. Keaton described the experience years later. Everybody showed up every morning frightened. I think we were all thinking, I don't want to be the guy who lets everybody down. You had to be word perfect, you had to be off script, and you literally had to count your paces down to the number of steps. The Times Square underwear scene happened because production couldn't afford to close Times Square. Keaton filmed with real pedestrians in just 4 takes with 4 crew members watching over him, and street drummers were hired as distraction to keep crowds from swarming the shoot. The $16.5 million film earned $103 million worldwide and 9 Oscar nominations. 4 wins followed, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Cinematography. Keaton was not among the winners. Redmayne's win came after his SAG victory signaled momentum shift in the final weeks, and the SAG predictor had failed only once in 11 years before that night. Keaton later called the comeback narrative bullshit when asked about it in interviews, but described the role as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and felt he was born to fulfill the role from the moment he read the script. Max Cady. 15 years after Taxi Driver, De Niro faced the Oscars again with another Martin Scorsese collaboration, and this time, he paid a physical price for the role. $5,000 went toward having his teeth ground down for a menacing appearance, then $20,000 to restore them afterward. Body fat dropped to 4% as he bulked up significantly, and all shirtless scenes got scheduled toward the end of production when he'd reached peak physical condition for Max Cady. Playing the psychopathic rapist required research into sexual predator crimes and work with North Carolina natives to nail down a Southern dialect. In the film's most disturbing scene with co-star Juliette Lewis, De Niro never rehearsed beforehand, filming it in 3 takes using 2 cameras, while Lewis experienced what she later described as intensely uncomfortable improvisation. The $35 million film earned $182 million worldwide, becoming Scorsese's first to gross over $100 million. 2 Oscar nominations came its way, Best Actor for De Niro and Best Supporting Actress for Lewis. Both walked away empty-handed. Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor for The Silence of the Lambs with only 16 minutes of screen time as Hannibal Lecter. That film swept the Big 5 categories including Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, and Screenplay, dominating the entire ceremony. David Anson at Newsweek wrote that De Niro dominated Cape Fear with his portrayal of psychopathic self-righteousness. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars and called it impressive movie-making, though some critics felt De Niro occasionally slipped into parody with the performance. A famous Simpsons parody called Cape Fear arrived in 1993, and professional wrestlers drew inspiration from the character. Apple TV announced a series adaptation in November 2024, with Javier Bardem cast as Max Cady, proving the character's lasting cultural footprint. Max Cady remains consistently ranked among cinema's most memorable psychopaths, but the Oscar went elsewhere that night. John Fitzgerald. Tom Hardy's John Fitzgerald is difficult to understand by design, not by accident. His frontier dialect has been described as vaguely Philly, sounding, slightly southern and thoroughly sinister by multiple critics.
What life you talking about? I ain't got no life. I just got living. The only way I get to do that is through these pelts.
His "God is a squirrel" speech required viewers to pull up the screenplay PDF just to follow what he was saying, and Hardy confirmed he based the character on Tom Berenger's Sergeant Barnes from Platoon. Playing the grizzled, cowardly trapper who murders Hugh Glass's son and leaves Glass for dead meant enduring the same brutal filming conditions as Leonardo DiCaprio in freezing temperatures across remote Canadian and Argentinian locations. 9+ months, instead of the planned 5 months, stretched the production to its breaking point, and the budget ballooned from $60 million to $135 million. Crew members called it a living hell when interviewed afterward. Hardy lightly wrestled director Alejandro González Iñárritu on set to release tension building up during the difficult shoot. The extended December break forced Hardy to drop out of Suicide Squad, losing him another major role. Todd McCarthy at The Hollywood Reporter called Fitzgerald genuinely disturbing and wrote that, at a couple of key moments, his eyes speak volumes without dialogue. Variety's Justin Chang called him a creature of distinct malevolence in his review. The $533 million box office success earned 12 Oscar nominations, the most of any film that year. 3 wins followed, including Best Director for Iñárritu, Best Actor for DiCaprio in his long-awaited win, and Best Cinematography for Emmanuel Lubezki. Tom Hardy was nominated for Best Supporting Actor alongside Sylvester Stallone for Creed, Christian Bale for The Big Short, and Mark Ruffalo for Spotlight. Mark Rylance won for Bridge of Spies, in what was considered an upset at the ceremony. Stallone had been the sentimental favorite after winning the Golden Globe, but Hardy was a respected nominee who never became a frontrunner since DiCaprio's overdue win dominated the entire narrative. This remains Hardy's only Academy Award nomination to date. He called the filming an education in endurance when reflecting on the experience. Ruben Stone. For 7 to 8 months, Riz Ahmed followed a punishing daily schedule that would break most actors. 2 hours of American Sign Language instruction each morning with a private tutor. Script work with an acting coach at midday. Several hours of drumming practice in the afternoon with professional instructors. Attendance at AA and NA meetings in the evening for research into addiction recovery, punk and metal shows at night to absorb the culture. Plus, 2 hours daily with a hard-of-hearing personal trainer. Starting as a complete novice drummer, Ahmed learned double pedaling techniques inspired by Zach Hill of Death Grips. The opening performance scene was filmed in a single take before a real audience at the Middle East Club in Cambridge, Massachusetts, with no second chances available. Ahmed became fluent enough in ASL to improvise with deaf actors during scenes. Modified hearing aids playing white noise simulated deafness during filming, and as Ahmed put it, I couldn't hear my own voice throughout the shoot. The $5.4 million Sound of Metal earned just $517,000 at the box office due to COVID-19 restrictions, but 6 Oscar nominations came its way, and 2 wins followed for Best Sound and Best Film Editing.
That's amazing. This is what you get, so just continue doing it.
Ahmed's Best Actor nomination made him the first Muslim nominated for Best Actor in a leading role. He faced Bradley Cooper, Gary Oldman, Stephen Yeun, and Chadwick Boseman, who had died in August 2020. Boseman was the overwhelming favorite at -993 betting odds. Producers controversially moved Best Actor to the final award, seemingly anticipating a Boseman win to close the show. Anthony Hopkins won instead for The Father in a shocking upset. Hopkins was asleep in Wales and not at the ceremony, and the show ended abruptly without an acceptance speech, leaving everyone confused. NPR wrote that Ahmed's performance was raw and real and small, exactly the opposite of the tidy, contrived, and falsely triumphant performances that have taken home Oscars in recent years. 52 critics included the film on their top 10 lists for 2020. Ahmed won the Independent Spirit Award, Gotham Award, and Satellite Award for the performance. The following year brought an Oscar for Best Live Action Short Film as producer, co-writer, and star of The Long Goodbye, making him the first Muslim to win in that category. Enjoy this deep dive? Don't stop here. The one on your screen is even better, so check it out next.